Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Alberto Beers. I'm part of the innovation team in Aracari, and I want to welcome you all to our conversation number 6. Okay. I'm based here in Lima, Peru, in Miraflores, facing the ocean. And our guest today is all the way up there in one of the most beautiful, pristine places in the world, which is the Sacred Valley. He's actually located in Ollantaytambo. And for the one of you who have known, been here in Peru before, that's the last train station stop before Machu Picchu itself. Today, Joaquin Randall, who is the owner of one of the most iconic places in Ollantaytambo called El Albergue, is going to tell us everything about his passion for sustainability and for tourism and how to make tourism much more sustainable nowadays. And to interviewing him, as we have in the previous conversation series, it's our CEO and founder, Marisol Mosquera. With you, Marisol.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Those friends from Cusco, from the Valley, from all over the world. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And thank you for tuning in. And of course, it's our pleasure to welcome Joaquin Randall, a sustainable tourism entrepreneur, a man of many talents, much like his family, who I've known for years. It's a pleasure to have you, Joaquin. I came into Peru 23 years ago to do tourism because I'm Peruvian. And one of the first people I met was Joaquin's mom, who was owner and hostess at the Albergue de Wendy Weeks, very famous in the Cusco area. And I was fascinated by everything about it. And here we have the second generation. Tell us a little bit about your background, Joaquin, for those who don't know, because I know you have family here and friends, so people know you very well. But tell us a little bit about your background, because I think it's fascinating for everybody to know and learn how, what brought you to Ollantaytambo, because you're an Ollantino, aren't you?
Well, first of all, thank you, Alberto and Marisol, for having me. And thank you to everybody who's been able to make it to this little talk today. Certainly, my mother is here, so she'll correct me if I say anything that's not factually.
She should be in the panel. She should be in the panel. Wendy, you're welcome to be in the panel here.
No, we will not allow that.
You were born there. You were born you were born in Ollantaytambo, right?
And I'm in my home in Ollantaytambo. I'm actually a stone's throw from El Albergue and my mother's home, which is where I was born. So my mother and father came here from the United States in 1976. And that's the year my brother was born. He was born here in Cusco. And then I was born here a few years later in 79. So we were both born and raised here. And even though we were kind of in the middle of the mountains, middle of nowhere with no running water, electricity, or telephone, we also did have a community of people from around the world that were also here at the time. So we had a family of Canadians and Brits that were partners with my parents here in the business back then, and they had their kids. So a shout out to the Holland family and the Dirk's family that started this business along with my parents, or soon after. And we were raised here in that context. It was very different times, and we've seen booms and busts with tourism here. They didn't come here as tourists to work in tourism per se. I think they were tourists of sorts because they were backpacking through South America, and they rented this house here on the train station in Ollantaytambo. And after they rented the house, they found out that the building next door was basically an abandoned hotel. It had been shut down for many years. And they reopened the hotel as a backpacker place, $1 a night to sleep on a reed mat on the floor. Right. And that's kind of the beginning of tourism history in the Sacred Valley to some extent. They started one of the first adventure tourism companies in this area. And I kind of grew up in that context. My mother's a painter. My father was a writer and self-taught anthropologist. And so they really were focusing on their art, but used tourism as a means of making an income here and being able to pay their own their own way. And we were fortunate to grow up here and to really see this place in a pristine stage back then. And go to public schools here and learn the language and the culture and be part of a small community that we're still part of today. So it's the place has changed in many ways as far as what Ollantaytambo is like. We now have, I'm talking with you guys over internet technology. As I mentioned before, the congratulatory notes for my birth were through telegraph. And we had no electricity and stuff. One thing that I mentioned the other day is because we've had to cut back on expenses, we've had to cut the hot water system for the hotel, which also supplies my house. So now we're back to taking kiddie baths in the shower with a little bucket like we used to back in the day. So
yeah, because I remember when I first went to the albergue, it was lovely and simple and always cozy. But yeah, it was one of the only place that had a sauna, right? And that's where you're now using it again. Is that what you're mentioning?
Yeah, we have to heat up the water in the sauna and get a nice warm space before we take a bath, like we did it when we were kids. So it's nice for me to have my kids experience that as well.
So after a few years, you grew up there, but then after a while you went to college in the States, right? And you studied sustainability. Is that in development? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time in Seattle, about a year and a half with my family there, a few of them here now, as did my brother. My brother spent many years in Seattle in high school. And then I went to college at Tulane in New Orleans, and my focus was on sustainability and development. So when
you came back to Ollantaytambo to work and live, and then you took over the family business. Is that right?
I mean, initially I wanted to work for nonprofit, and I did that for a number of years, and that was not profitable. But my mother needed a break from the business, and the time was propitious, and so I actually started running the hotel, and we kind of went from having 6 rooms with shared bath and a set course menu. We kind of decided to fix it up a little bit, add some private bathrooms, huge luxury for our context. And now we have 15 rooms, all with private baths, and some of them are quite very nice and luxurious to some extent. We don't do televisions though, so none of that. And yeah, it's kind of this, for me, with my background of kind of trying to go for economic development, it's been an opportunity to really pursue different paths as far as what we can do here. Starting a little organic farm. We started a craft distillery with my business partners, Haresh Bodwani, and my brother Ishmael Randall, who's also a partner, and it's inspired by my mother's work. We roast coffee, and now we have 2 little coffee shops, and we run a restaurant in town, which is a local restaurant called Chuncho. It serves 100% traditional food from the region using 100% local produce. And we run my wife's a little guest house in Cusco called El Balcón. So that's kind of, all this has kind of happened.
You're a mogul. You're like a local mogul. Tourism, sustainable tourism mogul. Joaquin is being very modest because his brother, yes, he has taken from his mother's footsteps as an artist, but he's one of Peru's leading fine artists. So that's something important to mention as well. Very talented family. And so Joaquin, so tell us now, I mean, you have all these businesses. Aracari is a fan, clearly, and we go to Pachamancas and we book this and that. And tell us a little bit more about the different initiatives you have, and also strategically why you're doing it, no? Because you wanted to diversify the tourism offer, make tourism compatible with, giving back, to the livelihood of people, employ local employment, etc. Tell us a little bit more about all those initiatives, like the distillery, etc.
So, yeah, I think each one of these is kind of an opportunity for us to develop, different aspects of this area. And, economic development is one of my focuses, and providing decent jobs that then provide people with an income that they could use to educate their children and pursue their own businesses and objectives is part of our way of working. And, we only have 15 bedrooms here, and yet we've been able to create a business that's, I think, probably the second largest employer in Ollantaytambo,
Wow.
after the municipality, I think, at least of Ollantaytambinos. During the high season, we usually employ between 100 and 120 people. And that's, kind of brings us to where we are now. We're not able to provide those jobs at this stage. But just to finish answering your question from before, all of these things kind of happened organically. My mother, when she moved away, I asked her if I could use her painting studio to open a restaurant there. And she, I think, willingly obliged. And so we were able to reopen the original train station restaurant. And that kind of
super cozy and delicious.
Into the thought of, okay, well, can we have our own farm? Because there was a shortage of diverse organic produce in the area. And so we started farming, and we had the coffee shop, and a friend of mine was interested in roasting coffee. So I spoke with him, and he said, well, we could roast coffee. And I said, let's roast coffee. And then with Haresh, who's my business partner in the distillery, along with my brother, we were exploring this compuesto that my mother makes, which is a digestive liqueur that she's made for many years here, for over 30 or maybe 40 years now. And I'd already done some bottling of it, and we called it matacui, which is, it's this Andean spirit. It blesses the end of a meal and brings on the party afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of our trademark brand now, is the matacui, and we've been doing very well in Lima and Cusco. And we were actually getting ready to export to Europe and the US right before this pandemic started. So that's still on the list of things to do. So yeah, whenever someone wants to come in and thinks of a great idea and we have the possibility to support it, it's just been like, okay, why not?
And you also have a restaurant, right? You have a lovely little restaurant in Ollantaytambo. Is that so?
Yeah, so we have the restaurant in the hotel, which is at Albergue. We've been probably one of the town's top restaurants since we opened about 14 years ago, which is when my daughter was born. And then 2 years ago, we opened Chuncho, which is kind of my own little love child, you could say. I adore Chuncho. He's really, he, she, whatever, is a project that I was really able to kind of break free from family tradition and do something on my own, but very much grounded in the same ideals of using local produce and sticking to tradition. And it's very traditional food from Ollantaytambo. And it's also the cocktail bar for Destilería Andina. So we use 100% of our spirits, and all the food is either farmed on our farm or purchased from local farmers in the area. So it's a really fun project and close to my heart and close to my ideals and ethics as far as local consumption and local production.
So since you took over, then it's diversified into several different projects which are going well, and then you had them all going, and then you wanted to go away for a while to pursue some academic interest and lifestyle, and then boom, COVID came, and now that's a whole new reality, much more aligned to what you do, but not without its challenges. So how about telling us a little bit more about how that affected your plans and what you're doing now and planning for the future?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I mentioned the other day, my family and I, we had all these plans to move to Berlin, to Germany. We were going away for a couple of years, and I was looking to explore a little bit more of my interests in development and conservation, maybe doing some studies over there, and I wanted my kids to have a more international.
You've got 2 kids, right?
Yeah, Ima is my wife. She runs the school here. That's part of our little incubator of projects here. We have a elementary school and a kindergarten with 40 students now. Wow. And so she and I and our two kids, our 14-year-old Mayu and our 4-year-old Rumi, were going to move to Berlin. Those sound like really hippie names now, like River and Stone. But and what's that? And a smoke alarm or something? I don't know. I think we're fine. And so, yeah, all those plans have been kind of postponed. And interestingly, you know, I've always said this about my years at university. You know, I went away for 4 years and a year and a half in Seattle, and I came back here and I just went straight into doing what I thought I would have done if I hadn't gone away. So now that I'm not going to Germany, I kind of feel like, okay, I'm just going straight into what I would have done when I came back from Germany. So we just kind of fast forward, pretend like we did that already. Now we're back, and we're ready to pursue this work, which I think is really important, which is reforestation and conservation and that's kind of a bit of what we're going to talk about. So I don't know if we want to, we can move into that, or I'll let you guide me.
No, absolutely. No. I mean, just before we move into your reforestation projects, so what are your thoughts about, because, you know, there's a lot of press and a lot of issues with over-tourism, at least until now, right? In your area, right? In Ollantaytambo, in Machu Picchu. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, how can, in an ideal world, I mean, just think creatively, and I'm sure you have lots of ideas of how to diversify if you were in charge, kind of thing, how to diversify the offer further, make the place sustainable for many generations and not damaged for people who visit now, and bring jobs, because the problem with the fact of COVID now for places that were suffering from over tourism is that there are no jobs now, and that's pretty much just as bad, isn't it, in a way? I mean, it's the problem with under tourism.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have an over dependency on tourism, and that's one of the things we've been struggling with for all these years. You know, I've lived here through the economic crisis of the 80s, the political violence of the 90s, natural disasters that, you know, closed down Machu Picchu, and there've just been these booms and busts all along. And I've always felt like there's this like kind of financial insecurity, economic insecurity in this area because of this dependency on tourism. And it's one of the things I wanted to do. You know, and I mentioned to you that when I came back here, I said, if I end up working in tourism, I will have failed, because I'm just contributing to this further dependency on this very unstable industry. And that's kind of part of what's motivated these other aspects of our work. And interestingly, you know, in a way, the past 12 years has been a preparation for this moment. You know, the fact that we started an organic, sustainable farm, that's a part of the business that's still working. The fact that we started roasting coffee, that is still happening. People are still buying coffee here in Peru. We're shipping coffee to Lima, and to Cusco, and to Tacna, and Arequipa. We're distilling alcohol. We're making our own alcohol, so we don't have to bring in Johnny Walker or Diageo, anything from anywhere. We provide that locally, and in Lima, and in Arequipa, and we're also sending to Tacna and other parts of Peru.
So that's really interesting, basically making tourism like ignite the flame for a lot of different industries that are like self-sustaining, basically. That's what.
Yeah, I think that we need to complement our work, you know, because if we just had the hotel, then we'd have nothing to do right now.
Exactly.
You know? And I mean, okay, 90% of our employees are still not working, but we're able to maintain a fair number of them employed right now. They're working on the farm, and some of them are working on the reforestation project, but others are just taking care of the animals on the farm. We're still, you know, we have a delivery system to the Sacred Valley in Cusco, where we deliver the coffee and our farm animals and processed meats and veggies and the alcohol and roasted coffee. So you know, that's happening. It's not to the extent I would like, but it's still happening. And strangely, I mean, a huge part of our alcohol sales and coffee sales, we're also still linked to tourism and vegetables. So even in this pursuit of sustainability beyond tourism, you know, even like our Lima clients that we thought, oh, we have a national market, they, like, some of our top clients were, Astrid Gaston and
Of course, and they're also related to tourism.
they all shut down as well, and so they were one of our largest purchasers, and they're not there for us now. I think they're starting to restart. And it's my brother that now does the distribution of booze to people's homes in Lima on his bicycle.
That's cool. And so now is the time to tell us about your very innovative and idea project of reforestation, because I think it has many very novel aspects. Tell us about it.
So we've been working with ICOAN, which is Asociación de Ecosistemas Andinos, which was started.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Would you like us to show the pictures while you're talking?
Yeah, we could do that now.
That would be nice.
Why don't we go straight to the pictures for the reforestation, and we can go back to the
to the others at the
end afterwards. We'll just,
excellent.
Mm-hmm. So there's this organization that you have very good things to say about called ICOAN, right?
Yeah, and they have really been pioneers in reforestation in this area for the past 20 years almost. They've been responsible for replanting about 2 million trees in the Cusco region over the course of those years. And we have been happy to be financial supporters of them, but we also, all of our workers, once a year, we all go up to the mountain and plant trees with them. So these are llamas that are loaded up with queuña saplings ready to go.
That's a local tree, right?
Yeah, queuña is a native tree, and they really focus on that by restoring native forests. They provide habitats for the native species that were on the verge of extinction, including the plants themselves, but also other wildlife and birds. Here's a group of our employees. That's me on the left, and then a group of employees. This is the last December. We all went up.
And what, you were going up to plant those
these trees, these saplings.
Okay.
And these saplings are great because you can actually do what they call raíz desnuda, which is they don't have any earth that you have to go with. It's just the plant itself, the sapling, you can transplant directly into the ground without having to have it bagged, which is nice because you can carry 100 of them on your back. If they are in a bag, you can only carry about 20 to 30 of them if you're strong.
Wow. So how long did you guys all walk up there?
Yeah, so we were able to drive, in this case, to Patacancha, and then from Patacancha, we walked up for about an hour and a half of the mountainside.
Oh, nice.
So they are the ones that inspired this idea of reforesting down here. We are at 2,800 meters, and I'm standing here. This is Celestino, it's with me. This is outside the train station, right outside the hotel gates at the train station. That's a bit of the train. And the mountain behind us is the mountain I'm looking at through my window right now. And that's the one we are planning to reforest in the coming months and years. So this year we did an experiment. We planted 2,500 trees above the Inca terraces on the lower section with the help of the dancers from the local dance troupe, which is called the Señor de Choquequilca, is our patron saint. And so there's 300 dancers that participate in the dance. And they all came up and we planted the 2,500 trees over the course of January and February.
Wow.
And we'll see how they hold up by December. Hopefully they will hold through this dry season now. And then we are intending to plant the rest of this mountain. And on Friday, Celestino and I went up, that was almost a week ago, we went up to the top section of this mountain. We'll see the next picture show that. And we actually we're just surveying the land, but we thought, okay, well, what if we we've been collecting seeds all over the place, all these native trees, so moye and guaranguay and tara and chachacomo, and we've had all these seeds, and we just said, well, let's take, how many seeds can we fit in my backpack? And we're like, about 8 million. So, well, what if we take those up and we spread as many as we can around, and we'll dig little holes and try and plant them. And I've been asking my biologist friends, what data do we have on natural germination on the mountainside? And we don't have that much information. So we've decided we've sectioned off the mountain in 6 sections. So we'll do one seeding campaign every month from now till December. And then we'll be able to see next year how many of those seeds actually we're able to start. So we started with the far left section of the mountain, and the next month in July we'll do another section, and so on and so forth. We go to the next picture.
I don't know if oh, there you are.
There we go. We've started a little nursery. Well, not so little. We have 50,000, I think we'll get to 60,000 trees started in this nursery this year. And this is something I've wanted to do for years. I think it's the way to get this mountain to start up again. A lot of people have been asking me, why are you reforesting? Were there forests there? I've never seen any trees on that mountain. It's always been grassland and barren. And just, I'll make this as quick as I can, but we have to tell 7,000 years of history here. We know that there have been people living here in the Sacred Valley area for about 7,000 years. And the reason we know that is that they've done research, and when they've taken core samples from the bottom of these lakes, suddenly you see the appearance, this is evidence of human activity, massive amounts of ash. So you have all these years of just pollen and organic matter settling in the bottom of these lakes, and then suddenly you have a huge amount of ash, and then a precipitous fall in the amount of pollen that's accumulated year after year. And that's how we know that humans arrived here. And basically, yeah, we burnt, that's what people do. I mean, you go anywhere here in Peru, and if you see humans are moving in, they're burning down the entire vegetation cover for the area. And so we're talking about reforestation that didn't happen yesterday or even in the last 100 years. This is deforestation that happened in the course of the last 7,000 years. So the damage that's been done has happened over the course of all that time. And this is a huge debt we have as humans to our natural environment. So that's why we started that nursery there. And since we don't have other work to do, I don't have to be, we're not making beds, we're not waiting tables, we're not running a hotel. We said, how do we keep busy? We can start planting trees. And start to fix this problem that we have as collectively as humans caused. And there's a huge problem obviously for other living species, but it's also a huge problem for us as human beings, because we depend on forests to regulate the water. We depend on forests to contain greenhouse gases, especially carbon. And we depend on forests to provide this kind of diverse, sustainable environment that we'd like to live on. And we've become accustomed to living in, this is a grassland at the top of the mountain. So that's the mountain that we were looking at before. This is a section of it just to the left of what we were looking at. And this has a little forest there. These are chachacomo trees, or bushes in this case. All the chachacomos, old growth chachacomos, if you've ever seen one, are just magnificent trees. And you can see, this little forest has not been allowed.
Are these ones you've planted?
No, these ones are there naturally. And so you have these small little patches of forest that are still kind of like struggling. But as we walk through that forest, we'd see like their stumps are burnt, they've been cut, they've been hacked. So even these little bits of tree cover that we have are endangered, because as soon as a tree has at least like 10 centimeters in diameter, someone will come and cut it down for firewood. So we need to change attitudes in this area so that people will allow. So
that's what you're trying to do, right? Empower the local people, because this reforestation project, you were saying to me, it's not your reforestation project. You want to be everybody's. Tell us a little bit about that.
We started with this idea of calling it a project, and I think it's closer to like a vision or a dream. So this is a dream for the Sacred Valley, and you can look at these mountains. They're really, we can go back, we'll do that then, but they're really magnificent, right? But you can see the amount of like trees on them is just really, really limited, and it's mostly a result of fires. I've seen all of these mountains burn at least a couple times in my lifetime, and we need to stop doing that. And it's not necessarily on purpose. A lot of them are accidental fires, but they could be reined in, and we could definitely reduce the amount of fires that happen by having more forest cover as well, and also protecting them. And this is a community project, and not just the community, but also other businesses and organizations and local government. that will be participating. This is our 50,000 trees is our objective for this year. And we've opened this up to anybody else who wants to do this. And the way we're financing this is we're right now using our own resources, but we're hoping that we can actually raise the funds to cover this expense, because it is significant. And the way we're doing that is that we're actually selling gift certificates and vouchers to our to clients. Or anybody you know that might want to come to Ayotzinapa.
Sorry, Joaquin, can I ask everyone to mute their microphones, please? Because I'm sharing the picture right now. I cannot mute you. If you can be kind enough to mute yourself, it would be really nice. Otherwise, I have to mute.
We can go back to the other picture if you want to mute them. That's fine. We can. I can go back to this.
I already found the person. Sorry.
Okay.
It's okay.
So
you were saying that you were looking for
gift cards.
Right.
So we have friends that have bought anywhere from $50 to a couple $1,000. And what we're promising to do is for every dollar you purchase from us, we will plant a tree. So if you purchase $100, we will plant 100 trees with your name on it. We'll grow them here, plant them on the mountainside, and we will send you a gift card worth $100. So we need to keep our costs really low on planting the trees, so that we make sure we have enough cash to take care of you when you come back here. But the circle is, you help us now, we will serve you later. These gift cards will never expire. They're transferable. You can, your grandchildren can inherit them if they want. Our business has been around for 40 years. We expect to be around for another 100. And then we will all together help reforest the Sacred Valley. And and we've opened this up to other companies. So Aracari is now a partner in the in the reforestation project. And so also, if someone wants to purchase services from Aracari, Aracari will offer to plant a certain percentage or a certain number of trees for every dollar that they receive for advance. Because everybody in tourism is struggling right now. We have zero income and lots of obligations. So if we can have people pay for services in advance, it will just reduce the burden, allow us to give employment to our people, and make sure that we're here to serve you in another year. When you're ready to come, or maybe even a few months. People from Lima will start coming up here. I think the government has decided they're going to open in July. So
yeah, that'd be great.
It could be as soon as that. And so now we have a number of different companies that are signing up. The municipality is supporting us. The dance troops, I mentioned 300 dance troops. The distillery is planting 1 tree for every bottle sold, every bottle of booze. If you buy Caña Alta or Matacuy, you get 1 tree every time you drink that. The school, our school, which is run by my wife, the school is run basically on scholarship programs. So if anybody contributes to the scholarship program, they're actually helping us with bagging the plants, and also will help volunteer. The kids will help and actually volunteer planting trees as well. And so they will, for every dollar that you donate to Cusco School, they will also plant 1 tree. I have Apu Lodge. Luis Norton is listening to us now. She's signed up. I have my friend Lucho Oliveira with Andean Travel. And I'm opening this up just to everybody, anybody who wants to do this, say, okay, I can sell my vouchers in advance. And this is a way to motivate you guys who have postponed your travels to Peru to say, okay, well, why don't I pay now and I'll enjoy later. And I'll help reforest the mountains. So that's really a collective thing. And I mean, this is what we're doing now, but this is really a long-term vision. So help us now, but we really need to work on this for years to come. The Sacred Valley stretches from Puno, La Raya, down, I think Cusco is the major tributary with the Guatanay River, and all the way down to Machu Picchu and down to the Pongo de Mainique, Pasquillabamba. And I'd say 90% of it has no forestry, is deforested. So except for like the section where the national park is, which is Machu Picchu, it's all kind of been deforested. So we need to really work hard on this, and we'll see wildlife come back here. The places in this area where Ecolan has done reforestation, I've been up there this last year. I've seen deer for the first time in my life. Never seen deer. And now, with their work, there's deer, the number of birds around, the number of other species, and then also the benefits for humans, because we are seeing improved irrigation. We're reducing flash flooding, and we're regulating the droughts by having, if we have forest covers, then that's a natural bank for water that will allow us to water our farms in the dry season.
Great. Joaquin, thank you so much. Perhaps we should show everybody some photos of your not projects, of your businesses, and also of El Albergue, because we want people to know how fabulous it is. And then we're open for questions. There's been quite a few questions on the chat that Alberto will relay to you, but maybe we should look at some photos before, so you can talk a little bit more.
Oh, I see. Juan Mayorga is on here. He's another local business person here. It's invested in Ollantaytambo and with the Cervecería del Valle. And
so this is the famous albergue, right?
As well. This is the entrance to El Albergue on the train station platform here in Ollantaytambo.
Right.
So this is.
So you're right by the train station, aren't you?
Right on the train station. You literally step out of the reception and you're at the train station.
Right.
This is Cusco School. This is our little school, alternative school with 40 students that we usually have there. And they're all studying at a distance now. We're doing WhatsApp and Zoom and whatever other video work they can do. So that's a challenge as well. This is in our gardens, a little out of focus there. Sorry about that picture, but this is a part of the hotel. Those are hotel rooms. Here's one of the hotel rooms as well.
And it's your mom's art, right? That's decorating.
My mother's paintings on the walls, yeah. Her work, and then my brother's work also decorates a fair bit of the hotel. There's evidence of my father around here, and it's really been a family effort. Again, the balcony there, and then this is our neighbor's farm, and then our farm is up to the left there, and that's where the distillery and coffee roasting happens as well.
Right.
Yeah, and then this is right outside my little house and my brother's house. The previous photo is all of our employees and their families at our last Christmas reunion. And that's Mount Pincuyuna behind, and you can see the archaeological site in the middle of the photo. That's the Ollantaytambo Inca archaeological site. So these are all the people that are impacted right now. They and their families are basically, without an income except for their farm as a result of this situation. So we're trying to get as many of them back to work as soon as possible. But it's hard. So right now we can provide them with a few. We're kind of rotating people through the farm. We have our waiters working up on the farm right now. They're all planting trees on the farm. We're preparing the nursery. Here's my mother, and I wanted to show this. Is Feliciano and Fortunata. They are they're my mother's first ahijados, and then also compadres from Huilloc. And Huilloc was hit really hard with the COVID situation as well, because one of the first diagnosed cases of COVID happened in their community this year, and so they were actually shut down completely. And all of them work in tourism in some way or another and receive income from tourism as well. So anyway. Right. And this is Isaac Riquelme. He's a community leader, and he's been working with us here at the hotel for the past 3 years now as well. And he's my compadre. His son is my godson. And here he is preparing the veggies for distribution in Cusco week. And I think we have some pictures. Yeah, this is our coffee roastery. This is Arabica coffee grown here in the Cusco region. We purchase coffee from growers in Santa Teresa, Ocobamba, which is really close to here, and then also in the Manu National Park, where they're right on the border. It's called the Zona de Amortiguamiento of Manu National Park. So we've been roasting and shipping our coffee to Lima and Cusco. These are some pictures of our stills. We have 2 stills, and then Haresh and works there with Andre and Roni, and my brother Ishmael comes up here occasionally, although he's mainly in Lima. And that's the distillery. These are copper stills made in Portugal. And then here, these are some potatoes. Matacuy, I was mentioning earlier. If you haven't tried matacuy, you have to try matacuy. It's really fantastic.
I want to try matacuy.
it's just really, really delicious. You have to try it. And these are herbs that we use to flavor the matacuy. So matacuy, we produce all the herbs on the farm, and then those are extracted for the production of the booze. Yeah, there's another picture of the farm with Mount Pincuyuna in the background, and there's our veggies. And we do the farm lunches, which you guys enjoy so much. This is a patamanga being prepared. That's Celestino again. And all of our food is prepared. It's kind of like in the ground with hot rocks. Yeah. And there's our lunch area. This is Chuncho, I mentioned earlier, the restaurant in town. Josefina in the background there is our head chef, and she's like a sister to me. We grew up together with her family. And then Andre is our head bartender and also distillery.
Fantastic. And I saw that you have a Wendy Fizz, right?
We have a Wendy Fizz. The Wendy Fizz has matacuy in it. So
it has matacuy. Cool. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much, Joaquin, so much. There's lots of comments. Alberto is in charge, and many questions. So, Alberto, why don't you ask?
Let's go straight to them. Susie Dyson is making a lot of comments and tell you hi, Joaquin, just to let you know that. And it says your albergue is fabulous. Then Julian Asher is asking us if there is Wi-Fi at El Albergue.
I'm at El Albergue right now, so there's Wi-Fi.
That's pretty good.
And it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
There we go. Then Ali and Robert Alexander were asking, I think you answered that before, do you grow the coffee?
We don't grow the coffee. We work with single origin coffee. We work with small growers in the Cusco region. The nearest ones are here in Santa Teresa and Ocobamba.
Because that's lower altitude, right, where the coffee's grown.
Lower than us, but the highest coffee in the world, or some of the highest. The coffee we grow is all grown above 1,500 meters, and a lot of it is grown above 1,900 meters. So very high coffee, very specific flavor to it. And these people have won awards for some of the best coffee in the world because it's very particular flavor. The grains are small. They have a certain acidity to them, and it's 100% Arabica. No pesticides or fertilizers added to their growing, and they're growing on the side of the mountain, so it's way harder than growing anywhere else. Really, some of the hardest coffee to grow and harvest.
Then we have a question here from Bronwyn Griffith to everyone saying, is the Secret Valley still COVID-free area? If so, what do you think contribute to keeping COVID-free?
So we've been blessed, not just here in the Sacred Valley, but Cusco in general, and that there's been multiple studies that have been shown that the high altitude seems to be effective in fighting off COVID. So they've done studies in Nepal, Bolivia, Ecuador, and yeah, the number of cases is minimum. Here in Cusco, I think the number of deaths attributed to COVID is under 10. And then the cases that we had a couple cases here in Ollantaytambo, that they were people that came back from Lima. They were put in quarantine, and they lived out their quarantine in a hotel. And once they finished their quarantine, they went into town. So we seem to be COVID-free. And then those people who do get it, most of them are not hospitalized. So I think as far as I know, at least until last week, every single COVID case in Cusco was living out their COVID quarantine at home. So they might have changed recently, but for the most part, yeah. So it seems like altitude sickness kills COVID.
Are you thinking of making little matacuy bottles, or have you made them yet? No. I'm thinking of our welcome.
They're in the works. They're in the works.
Okay. We'll make an order.
Ishmael and Haresh, take note.
Yeah.
People want them.
Yeah.
We have Hugh Thompson saying, always impressed by the reforestation project you and Paul Cripps and Ecoan and Tino and others have supported. And he's also saying, like, I think I might have left my hat at the albergue when I stayed there 40 years ago. Have you keep it for me?
I'll make good use of it. Hey, Hugh. I hope it fits. I need a hat. I get burnt really fast.
Then people asking also about how to donate, how to support your project, and just for everyone to know, as we usually when we finish this conversation, the next day we're gonna send you a link with the recording of this conversation as well with the links that Joaquin will give us, and we can just share with all of you. So just for you to answer that question, Joaquin Randall, if there is any.
At this stage, you can contact me directly. My email and phone number are up there. You can do it over the phone number or WhatsApp, and we'll send you a link, and we take credit cards or bank wires. That's what we're doing right now. So we're basically proceeding with, as we do with the hotel regularly. You know, people want to pay up front, we give them a little credit card thing, and we send them a voucher that says that, you know, they have a voucher to use here in any of our businesses, whether it be the coffee, distillery, balcón, chuncho, or el albergue, and then we also certify that those trees will be planted in their name.
Fantastic.
We have 3 questions from Susie Dyson. She says, how can one buy your coffee? Where can we buy your coffee?
So one of our supporters in Lima is a company called Suyu. There's a young man called Germán Sarmiento, and he started a distribution company in Lima, and they distribute coffee and matacuy and cacao from different parts of Peru, and so they do a delivery system in Lima. And so if you go to @Suyu under, what do you call it?
Underscore.
Subguion P. They deliver, and also Destilería Andina. So Ishmael has coffee and can deliver in Lima, along with your matacuy and Destilería Andina products.
Great. I have 2 more questions here. Happy Dumas is asking, what is the name of the Aracari man who is speaking? Not Joaquin, the man in the black shirt. The man in the dark blue shirt, it's Alberto Wirtz. Hi from Lima. I'm part of the innovation team in Aracari. Terry Cumes, your neighbor, has a beautiful property also called Wilketica. He's asking, I've noticed locals doing reforestation faina projects and planting quinoa trees in Pumahuanca, which is one of the mountains near your area. What do you know about this work, and it is well managed?
I don't know specifically. Hi, Terry. Congratulations on Wilketica. I don't know specifically about the Pumahuanca work. A lot of them are affiliated directly with Ecoan, but there's been, you know, a good amount of knowledge happening around reforestation, and Ecoan, I think, is your best source for information. But you know, I'm motivated. I feel like anybody who wants to start planting, you know, when's the best time to start planting a tree? 20 years ago. If you haven't, then start now. And so, yeah, everybody, and let's try different things and share our experience, and also ask everybody's questions and each other questions and see what comes. But yeah, it's hard to believe, but we live in the Sacred Valley, and it is, for the great part, a desert, and we've made it a desert. It wasn't always like this.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, that last question comes from San Diego, from Encinitas, from Monica especially. She's asking if your coffee, if you are abroad, can someone abroad in the States or in Europe can get your coffee, or they have to go to el albergue?
Right now, we have shipped abroad, but it turns out to be a little expensive. So I think.
All right. So the best way to get it is just come to Peru with Aracari. Yeah, and visit el albergue. And there is no more questions, Marisol.
And you'll be here.
Yeah, no, but I think that there was something about whether the coffee sales also support the reforestation.
Oh, yes. That's the second question. Sorry about that, Monica. That's correct. The second question is, does the coffee sales support the reforestation project?
You know, every part of our business now supports the reforestation project. It's kind of what we do full time now. But yeah, we also, if people are buying our coffee, they're also, you know, with our vegetable baskets, we're doing a tree. With every bag of coffee, we're also doing a tree. So
Joaquin, congratulations, because you're like a living example with your work of what's the novel term of the circular economy, and you're doing a brilliant job, and you know, all the encouragement is really hard for everybody now, but especially for those of our partners who have fixed infrastructure, and we take that very much at heart. And I'm happy that we are giving you the platform to be able to, talk to us and to our audience about your work. So thank you so much. And I think that there's another question now before we say goodbye about the airport being, about the, what's the update on the airport being built locally? Is it still going ahead? I defer to you, Joaquin, being there, I'm in London.
Yeah, our controversial position on the airport is
Exactly.
No, I thank you, Marisol and Alberto, for putting this together. This is actually my first conversation of this type. It's been really comfortable and nice, and
cool.
Really wonderful seeing all these familiar faces, family faces. Thanks for making it. I really appreciate it. And but also it's just it's comfortable talking with you, and Aracari is just a fantastic organization. It's, I think, a reflection of who you are. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much for the plug, and welcome. And we'll do many more things, and we'll hope to involve you and certainly get those vouchers. So you have our word on that.
I'm glad to stay on and talk with anybody, or if we have to cut this off, we can cut it off. But
we don't have to cut it off. If somebody wants to talk to you, we're welcome.
The airport, it's hard to conceive that we would spend $1 billion on an airport right now.
But you never know, right?
But yeah, I mean, our regional governor stated just a couple of weeks ago that they were going to start works on the airport again, and I'm like, we have so many needs, infrastructure and healthcare and education, and they think that the bigger airport is going to finance all of that. But I think it's just going to finance graft, unfortunately.
Absolutely, agreed. Hopefully this, this epidemic and this slowdown will make things grow in a different way. No, we all can be part of that.
Yeah, I think we can all go back to this kind of idea of, there's scarcity and we should use our resources wisely, and I think that the airport was not a wisely designed plan by any means.
Exactly.
We can expand and improve our existing airport, definitely. But there's so much of our infrastructure, so much of just our natural resource management, the amount of trash and malnourishment, and so many issues in our region that really, if you have $1 billion, I can tell you where to spend it, not an airport.
Exactly.
Thank you for what you're doing, Joaquin.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you join us, and anybody else who joins up to for this project, and anybody who's a business owner who wants to join as well. Sign up. You can sell your vouchers as well, and
absolutely,
and be part of this. We will. I think my life is forever changed, and I think for the better because of this pandemic, and I hope that I know there's a lot of pain and suffering going on in the world with people that are losing their jobs and losing their lives and losing their health. But if we can learn from this and do something positive and not wait. I mean, I was going to wait 2 years to do this. Now I don't have to wait. I can just do the right thing now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Joaquin, and we'll see you soon.
Adios.
That was fabulous. Thank you. Thank you all. It was great. Ciao.
Adios. Bye.
Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you.